So Ben, as you're now a professional Fortnite player and YouTuber, I would like to get your opinion on the difference and how you play and what the play style is like between Fortnite and Black Ops 4 Battle Royale Blackout.
Yeah. What was the question?
So, Ben, also known as Nebulous Threat 6, as now you're a professional Fortnite player and YouTuber, I would like to know your difference in how you play and what the play style is like between the games of Fortnite and Black Ops 4 Battle Royale Blackout.
Yeah, well, as you all know, I do have my own YouTube channel, Nebulous Threat 6 on YouTube. Yeah, I just think that Blackout is a very good game, and I don't think that really you can make a comparison between the two games because they're very different in the dynamics of the game and how the rotations shift. And I think that Blackout is going to become extremely popular throughout gamers and content creators. And yeah, I don't really think that you can make a comparison, but as you know, Nebulous Threat 6 on YouTube, youtube.com/Nebulous Threat 6, and
Your
yeah.
channel will be linked in my description, my interview professional YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So basically, with Blackout, so you've played a bit of Blackout, as we have seen on your channel.
Yeah.
What is your personal opinions on it?
Well, I mean, I don't really like to talk about other games on this when I'm playing one game.
You've seen the Blackout gameplay on your channel?
Yeah, but it's one of my things that I don't really like to talk about other games while I'm playing one game. So if you could just stop talking about Blackout, that'd be appreciated.
Fine.
Any other questions?
Think that Fortnite, at the stage it is, has already reached its peak and is starting to die down with players?
No, I don't actually. I think that every week they're bringing out new updates, and it will continue to grow as more people discover the game and discover the capabilities that it can offer throughout different gamers and non-gamers, as we've seen over the past year.
You say discover. Do you not think most people have already heard of the game Fortnite and already know what it's about and probably already have the game?
Well, yeah, of course there's going to be hundreds of millions of people. There are still 7.5 billion people on this earth some of whom haven't heard of it. And
you say this. Hold on. You say this, but most of them are third world countries that will never have the access to get the game.
Oh well, yes, of course, and that is a big shame. And here at Nebulous Threat 6 Co, we do offer great gaming help to people in third world countries who don't really have access to global games such as Fortnite.Battle Royale, youtube.com/Nebulous Threat 6, and yeah, we do offer services to such people who aren't in such a privileged position as myself and others around me. And I feel that program. Shut up. That program is
No, you can't be saying this, considering even though you say helping the people in the third world countries, they wouldn't have access to watch your videos either.
Yeah, well, we don't just offer services to subscribers. We do have a premium service for people in these third world countries who offer to pay more. And we help them financially and physically.
So they pay you more, so you help them financially.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
We do lots of charity work in. We do lots of charity work in in Africa and India. But yeah, we can't be expected to pay
do
for everything. I mean, we're not a charity here.
Okay. Right, we'll move the bit off topic there. So let's go back onto Fortnite.
Oh, yes, sorry.
What season is this now?
This will be season
5?
6, yeah. Season 6.
Season 6. Season 6 map. Do you think it has gone to crap?
I don't, actually. I do miss, like many OG players, I do miss the old map. But
As ourselves.
but I do think that the changes were needed, because with the growing community, you need change, because otherwise you saturate your market and the game just will die off. So I think this weekly updates that they put out really has set it apart from its competition, and I feel like that is the reason that this game does so well in such a crowded market, as there are many unnamed battle royales out there. Many battle royales that I do not wish to name. For personal preference.
So, I've got a few questions.
Yeah.
What is your favourite season?
Well, personally, my favourite season is season 0. I think that's where the game, the roots of the game, obviously, and I feel like it's possibly, yeah, well, it is my favourite season because of how everybody was learning, and the game started from, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. No, season 1, because I think that's where lots of big changes came, and the game really started to grow in this new market, because at the time there weren't many games that were offering a battle royale service. So I think season 1 was where more games started to be released. More battle royale games were released, and yeah, I think the game Fortnite really started to open its doors to more people, and it really started to expand as a business.
Very good points. What is your opinion on cross-platform on Fortnite?
Oh, well, I think this is
it. They should further it, like Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, with not only with Fortnite, but other games in its, like other popular games in its community.
Oh yeah, well, I think cross-platform between Xbox and PlayStation has been one of the most exciting things in the, and requested things in the gaming world, and I think that it's been needed, especially in Fortnite, because we've seen cross-platform in many different across many different consoles and devices, like PlayStation.
Oh, are you talking about just Fortnite here, or other
just Fortnite for now. And yeah, so I think that that's actually been requested a lot more in other games as well. But I think it was needed in Fortnite because how big the game is, and yeah, I think other games that I do not wish to name, but other popular games, really could benefit from offering.
Do you think that like other companies like Activision or Rockstar or EA and stuff like that do other proper games like Battlefield and stuff like that, like Call of Duty, do you think they should improve or should like start getting the idea of having cross-platform?
I don't think they necessarily should, but I think that it could help them expand, such as Fortnite has done. If you look at the statistics in the last few weeks that cross-platform has been available for Fortnite, its numbers have grown massively, from 100 million to hundreds of millions. And I think, yeah, other games could definitely benefit from this, but I think other games offer other areas areas that they need to improve instead, not just cross-platform. But yes, I think it could be a very good idea for multiple games to take on this this strategy.
Yes. So you're saying, like, do you think cross-platform should be on like every game, or only like big companies? So let's say, like, if there was like, okay, let's use the Spider-Man game, only exclusives on PS4. Do you think that should become cross-platformed, or like should become on like an Xbox game and stuff like that? Do you think like exclusives should be a thing?
I think exclusives are made exclusive for a reason, and if they then, I think other smaller games will find it harder to input cross-platform because they don't have the influence that companies like Activision, Treyarch, EA, like you said, Rockstar. I don't think they have the same influence as companies like that, and I feel like if they did try it, there are games that maybe it wouldn't benefit them as much. But yeah, I think that some will find it harder than others to actually be able to get this cross-platform into their game.
Do you think there's a less variety of games on PS4 than there has been on the older consoles like PS3, where there used to be hundreds and hundreds of games to choose from, and now there's hardly any?
I think the market on the PlayStation 4 is ever growing, and as we go on, it is going to continue to grow. I don't think that there's hardly any games to choose from. I think there's many games for many different people. But
you say this, but back in, well, when there was PS3, there used to not be only the main first-person shooters, but there used to be like other ones like Homefront, Vanquish, and other things like that, which are very popular games, but yet again they weren't like what Call of Duty has been, or still is, or was.
I think that as we've grown in the past few years, as the gaming community has grown in the past few years, some companies have found it easier to survive in this market than others, and that maybe some games have not necessarily died off but become less popular because they've struggled to keep up with the changing market. And I don't think that necessarily has come down to PlayStation, but more the gaming community as a whole, and how
like companies aren't getting the money they need.
They don't have the customer base that they necessarily require for to be able to continue series such as, I don't like naming other games, but such as Crash Bandicoot.
It doesn't matter. You can name other games. It's going on my channel anyway.
Such as Crash Bandicoot, because I feel like with the growing community and the growing demand for more complex games, I feel like simpler games have struggled in recent years.
So you're saying Crash Bandicoot struggled this year?
Yeah, I think it has, really. I don't think that you get as many people playing it or talking about it as you would have done in maybe 5 years ago or 3 years ago.
You say it's not a very complex game, but yeah, it was a very complex game back when it first came out.
Oh yes.
So do you think they should have left it as it is and not remastered it, or like heard what the community was saying and still did remaster it?
I think that it's hard for a simple game to develop into a much more complex game. I think that maybe remastering it was a good idea, but I don't know how much good was ever going to come of it.
So it was good with the fan base it had from back in.
Yeah, I think back in the day it was good for that time. But I feel like now it's a bit outdated for the technology and the experience that we have with games. That
and the technological advancement.
Yeah, the advances we've made with technology and how everything developed.
I can't even talk either. Okay, my apologies.
That's alright.
Advancements. Fucking hell. So, do you think... Okay, back onto like... Not about Crash Bandicoot, but back onto remastered games. Do you think they should start remastering older games? Like Mario Kart? Actually, no, they never really did that. It's like the old Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 3 and that. Because they did it about Modern Warfare 4.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, Modern Warfare was remastered, was very successful when it was brought out, and I think that other CODs could definitely benefit from being remastered and brought back into the
exosuit line, which is not very popular with fans.
Yeah, I feel like exosuits and jetpacks in CODs now are extremely. They favour the pro players or better players a lot more, whereas boots on the ground CODs, it kind of opens its doors to a much wider range of players, not just the better players that we see on games such as Infinite Warfare. Although I think Infinite Warfare was a very good game, I feel like not many people played it because it was highly dominated by highly skilled players instead of the less... but the players who play Call of Duty a lot less than others. So I think that the older CODs that were open to more people could make a big comeback, such as the Modern Warfare series, or even a new Modern Warfare 4, even though it was only meant to be a trilogy. Maybe Modern Warfare 4 could be a good idea for
step further on.
Yeah.
For the
if they keep it close to, I think that old graphics are actually quite favourable now, such as with Modern Warfare remastered. I know that when I was playing it, I was in love with old graphics and remembering how graphics used to be, instead of the more cartoony graphics that we see today in games such as Fortnite.
So you believe that like games like that should be remastered?
Yeah, I think that new games are very popular, of course, but I think that older games could be just popular with different markets.
But do you think if they do remaster it and like it gets overhyped and then everyone's disappointed with it, will that be like a realization that maybe that can't be a thing? Or do you
I think that there has to be that game that takes the step forward and that says, you know what, we're going to do this, we're going to try it. If it doesn't work out, then they won't do it anymore. If it does, then it could be a whole new market to explore that we could see grow, expand, and it could offer more variety for players who... I know some players are getting kind of tired of games such as Fortnite, and they're looking for other games to play instead, and I think that old CODs could be old Call of Duties could be a answer to that.
So you're saying people are getting bored of Fortnite? Doesn't that contradict what you were saying earlier?
No, I don't think people are getting.
Dead?
But I don't think people are necessarily getting bored of Fortnite. I just think that they're maybe wanting something else to play alongside Fortnite. Because we've seen recently that lots of games are taking after Fortnite, and other areas of the market aren't really being developed and explored. So I think that maybe other areas could be looked into instead of just Battle Royale.
So you're saying that what EA have done with Battlefield and what Activision have done with Call of Duty is that they shouldn't have made a Battle Royale and jump on that hype train that everyone else is trying to jump onto just to try and make more money, instead of actually trying to please the community and making something new.
Not necessarily. I think that they're right to jump on the hype train, as you say, because it is obviously a very prominent market. But I think that as well as producing more Battle Royale games, I think that maybe we could focus on producing other games as well.
Right.
Not just
but don't you also think that everyone jumping on the hype train does not make it a unique game anymore, and then everyone gets bored of it, and then there's so many games that have Battle Royale that no one can find any game that doesn't, and they just want to play a simple, just like a kind of game.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, is that although people have been adding variations, that there also need to be other games that are being released. And I know that there are other games being released, like Spider-Man, we saw recently. Was a nice break from playing that, but I feel like at the end of the day you're always going to be pulled back into these Battle Royale games, because I think with this new market there isn't really anywhere else to go, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, of course. So with like games like this, do you think that people are more likely, like if they keep bringing out Battle Royale games, people are more likely to stop playing new generation consoles and go back to like old games, like nostalgia and stuff like that?
I think that,
like that's not really a thing anymore?
I think that market is, as I said, very prominent, and it could be very big, and but I don't feel like people are going to necessarily leave new generation and go back to older generations.
Not technically leave, but I meant like be like, fam, this is getting quite annoying. I know we're taking a step back from the serious interview. We're gonna more chill back. Okay. So like I'm getting a bit bored now. Why don't I just go play like something back on the PS2, like FIFA Street, like, or like Star Wars Battlefront, or like something like that. Something like they're very popular old games that people love to play.
Yeah, I think people still do that. I don't necessarily think that that'll mean that new generations get less attention, but I do think that maybe these new generation consoles that we see now, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, I do feel like they need to give older games attention and not just focus on bringing out new game. Well, it's not Sony or Microsoft, but game developers need to focus on bringing out older games instead of just bringing out new brands. I know that we see a new COD every year, and that is it is good.
Very repetitive.
It can get repetitive, yeah, of course, and you do hear people say, "Oh, I'm not playing COD anymore." You hear the same with FIFA a lot. I'm not playing FIFA anymore. It's just the same every year, and I think that FIFA's a very focused game. It knows what it is, but it can't really change what it is either.
No, because you can't really change a world known sport, can you?
Yeah, I mean, they have added variations with the new kickoff game modes, like headers and volleys, and I think that they've done that very well. But I do think that maybe people are going to start getting tired of FIFA as an example, but of course other games as well, and say, I want to play something different now. And I feel like it will be the same with Battle Royales.
Yes. That concludes my interview. Do you have any questions for me? That's all?
No, I think that this has been very...
Want to get any of my opinions or anything?
No, not really. I feel like this has been very, very good for...
Because I love to hear what people have on their opinions of different games, and it helps me to understand more.
Yeah, I think this has been a great time, and we should definitely try and do this another time.
Maybe in a year's time when new games come out?
Yeah, we could do it annually or weekly, because it's probably going to get lots of views.
Yeah.
Maybe focus on other games instead of...
Well, you didn't want to talk about any other games.
Oh yeah, I know, but if we do it while playing a different game, then we could focus on that maybe a bit more. But yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, I guess we'll see you in the future. Thanks very much.
Yep.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.
You too. Goodbye.